Yeah. All right, so I'm glad you're joining us here today. And tonight's, or actually this afternoon's lecture is all about natural and permanent weight loss. And hi, Gidget. Glad you can join us. Um, so we're just kind of getting rolling. So I first want to just start by just welcoming everybody. And I know some of you have met me, some of you have not. My name is Dr. Chris Cox. Obviously, I'm a chiropractor here at Lifeline Wellness Center. And I absolutely love kind of supporting our people who are motivated to improve their health and are really kind of driven to take action and help remove compromises from your life so you can experience and achieve all of weight loss and health goals and aspirations. And frankly, most importantly, really just actually maintain them. Uh, as most people have kind of heard, information without implementation is useless. So that's part of what we want to see for people is is taking information, actually applying it to their life. Um, so, so thanks for joining us today. As well, for those of you who don't know, part of weight loss for me has been a personal journey. I had been an athlete most of my life, which some of you may know, and then I gradually lost health over a period of a few years to a point of where I was taking pretty significant amounts of painkillers, prescription medications. I had gained almost 80 pounds and pretty much had resigned to this is what my life looked like. And after meeting a chiropractor and kind of starting to learn about how my body really functioned and how to regain lost health, was able to regain kind of my functionality and be able to get back to an active, healthy life. I was able to lose those almost 80 pounds. And that's been, I've been practicing chiropractic for almost 20 years now. So the weight for me actually didn't really come off till about 10 years ago. So I carried a lot of that extra weight for a long time as my body was getting healthier. So taking the information and experiences I've had, not only with myself, but with hundreds of practice members across along the years, being able to share that information and kind of, the popular word is hack, the learning curve, is one of the things I love helping people with. So if you have any questions during our time together this afternoon, please feel free to post them in the chat. There's a group chat you can send to me, either me privately or you can post to everybody. I'll absolutely do my best possible to look there and see if there's questions and answer them as we go along. So one of the most important things that I see for people is really asking the question about sustainable weight loss. So while we're all really accustomed to hearing ways that claim to help you lose weight quickly, the reality is that the majority of these methods really are unhealthy, unnatural, or just simply unsustainable. I kind of joke about the example with people that, if you just fed someone celery sticks forever, they would lose some weight. There's no question about it, but that's not really actually a sustainable plan. So how many times have you actually felt like you were making progress towards your weight goals, only to find your efforts go to waste as everything that you had lost piles right back on once you take your mind away from it? I mean, that's a really, really common thing. So just to answer your question, Teresa, nope. I've just got the screen set to show the PowerPoint. So I'm here. Just can't see me at the moment. So good question. So as we keep going, often many people have again made some progress towards kind of losing weight, but then it just piles back on because the actions they were taking to lose the weight weren't necessarily sustainable. So the issue here is not just the lose weight, gain weight cycle. It's the energy and effort that we're wasting each time that happens. And each time you're stressing out about returning yourself from one or more of these extremes, it really plays kind of havoc on your body. So finding really a happy middle ground or a sustainable solution is key if you're going to achieve any type of sustainable weight loss. So it's not really just simply about kind of losing weight. It's also not necessarily in your best interest to like never exercise and never eat whole foods. It's also damaging to over-exercise and obsess about overeating well, so to speak. So I'm sure many of you have either maybe experienced with one or other of these extremes or know people that have. So it's really, really common. So as we kind of get rolling, what I want to be able to do is be able to give you that information. So I want to start by having you make sure that you shift your focus, right? So number one is only 20% of dieters who lose weight on a diet end up keeping it off in the long term, right? With the current obesity stats as they are in the world today, this figure is just simply too low to be helpful in any way to those struggling to improve their health, right? So with a 20% success rate, that's pretty sad. So I like to kind of ask or kind of answer the question, why is it actually this way? Well, with such varying arrays of kind of mixed messages in the media, and specifically social media, regarding what is healthy and what will work, to achieve sustainable weight loss, it's easy to see how so many people actually get confused and misled and all that kind of stuff. So it's part of the reason I'm so passionate about this topic is I've been kind of through all that mess. And it's really about finding sustainable solutions for people that can last their entire lifetime. So we need to actually shift our focus away from achieving numbers and sizes and actually start to focus on achieving more health, right? So often people are not healthy enough to actually lose weight, right? Their metabolism kind of gets all goofed up. It has to do with liver function and a bunch of other stuff. So it doesn't matter, how well our diet is if metabolically things are so messed up that we can't actually burn the calories that we're intaking. So balance, really means finding a healthy, achievable, and sustainable lifestyle change that also supports and promotes weight loss where necessary. So when the body is functioning optimally, it actually sustains a normal body composition, right? So it's an important concept to make sure that we're kind of keeping in balance, right? So you'll find that the more you bring your body back into balance and incorporate healthy habits into everyday life, the less you need to focus on the actual process of losing weight, right? Your body will balance itself out over time and eventually settle to a natural weight, which if you're overweight or have a few extra pounds will appear similar to losing weight, right? So it's not just about balance in the foods you eat, however, it's balance between activity, rest, food, and other lifestyle factors that are all part of your daily routine, which successfully helps you achieve this sustainable weight loss. So being honest with yourself about negative eating habits or non-existent exercise regimens, and doing something to actively change this, not just once, but consistently over a period of time, is the best way to ensure this lasting weight loss. So forming some new habits and gradually shaping this new lifestyle. So, nobody's going to make a lifetime change by losing 10 pounds over the course of a week or 2 weeks. There has to be that consistency, and there has to be things that are realistic, and it has to be sustainable. So there's lots of ways to do that, and that's part of what we do here at the office is help people kind of sort that through and use things like DNA testing and stuff like that to really look at a sustainable long-term solution for people. Really important pieces of that puzzle. So why do people regain lost weight is one of the most common questions I get. Well, there's actually numerous reasons for this. And as all body types and lifestyles are different, it's hard to really generalize. But there are actually some common factors which have been experienced by a large number of people trying to lose weight. And the most common reasons for this, number one is restrictive diets, meaning extreme caloric restriction can wreak havoc on your metabolism and upset hormone balance and really make it difficult to regulate appetite. But both of these things can contribute to weight gain, as a slower metabolism is notorious for causing excess pounds to kind of pile on. The hormone disruption only makes it worse. Now, the next kind of reason is the wrong mindset, right? Thinking of diet as a quick fix instead of a long-term solution, or also think of a diet as the only thing necessary to cultivate a healthy, balanced life is the number one place where people go wrong in their attempts to achieve lasting weight loss. The key is to change the mindset first and then to focus on the rest, right? So what's your objective, right? Is it to get healthy? Is it to lose weight? Some of these things can be motivating factors, but we've got to make sure that we're keeping an eye on the primary focus, which should be actually getting healthy. And again, if we focus on getting healthy, the weight loss will actually happen in a very natural way. The other reason people often regain lost weight is actually habit versus rules. So diets often follow rules, right? The concept, which can be discouraging to a lot of people, uh, being used to a little more flexible eating patterns. So the ironic part is of this is that healthy, balanced relationship between food and exercise is by nature very flexible. So the strict regulations and restriction of diets have often proved to be unnecessary, right? Every day can be a little bit different, and learning how to master that and understand what's on your plate and what your body needs to fuel with and how much of it and all of that type of stuff. There's actually a very, very logical way to figure that out. And that's part of what we use with DNA and helping people kind of reset their metabolism, or in essence, reset their health so that their metabolism starts to function properly again. So some of the things that can really help people is making sure they get enough protein. It is a very, very, very common situation where most people actually don't get enough protein in their diet. So adding more protein in diet along with a good balance of other nutrients has been proven to assist with weight loss. The reason for this is that protein contains amino acids which are highly effective at breaking down food, increasing metabolism, and assisting with digestion. A diet high in protein will also help you feel fuller for longer, meaning that food cravings will be reduced and any tendency to overeat or binge eat will be less likely to occur. So there's kind of a phrase that is thrown around kind of in the nutrition world called breakfast like a king. Right, so eating breakfast high in protein is the key to ensuring you're set up for a productive, energized, nutrient-filled day. It also keeps you, feeling fuller longer, gives your body the kickstart it needs to kind of get going. It can be really, really important. Now, there's other ways. We'll talk about in a minute here things like intermittent fasting. There's other things that can be really, really helpful. I can tell you that starting and looking at what your breakfast is and crafting it very specifically based on what your body needs according to your DNA really sets you up for success or failure. Breakfast alone can kind of, if you're not conscious to what you're doing, can make the rest of the day just not work. All right, so there's lots of different ways to add protein to your diet. There's things like obviously nuts, there's protein, stuff like that. Chia seeds, spinach, all those types of things are great ideas. You can even do kind of some internet searches for high protein breakfasts, or ways to kind of get more protein in. One of the questions people always ask is, how much do I actually need? And that's where things like the DNA test become really, really, really helpful, because we can guide people into, all right, according to your DNA, you need 122 grams of protein a day. How much are you actually getting, right? So if we know that getting protein is a challenge, well, then we've got to figure out ways to get that in. People that are vegetarians and vegans can really struggle in this area because a lot of easy ways to get protein are through animal products. Dairy and eggs and stuff like that can be other areas. But there's also, things like nuts and cheeses, and sometimes we can use, powdered plant-based protein to actually increase those protein numbers as well. So it's just a matter of kind of working with the individual person and figuring out how do they balance their calories out so their body is getting the fuel it needs to function properly and really heal and repair itself. Also focus on single ingredient whole foods, right? So for kind of a no strings attached healthy eating and weight loss experience, it's vital to increase your consumption of single ingredient whole foods. When you do this, you automatically eliminate the added processed additives and preservatives of kind of mystery ingredient foods, which do not lend themselves to weight loss, right? When your body experiences things or you eat things that is foreign, that your body actually doesn't know what it is, that it's manufactured and synthetic, your body just stores it. And what it ends up doing, you think of it as kind of, it gunks up your engine, right? It doesn't let things really function very efficiently. So the more of that you have and the longer period of time that you consume those things, the more gummed up your engine becomes, and your engine really is your metabolism. So it's important to really, really, really be focused on what are the foods you're actually fueling your body with. So not only does it increase your metabolism, but it prevents it from getting all gunked up and helps your body be healthier. So the simpler the compounds of our foods, the easier it is for your body to digest them, right? So not only this, but the benefits of whole foods will also be maximized, as the positive nutrients will not have to be extracted from the bad in order for the body to benefit from them. One of the things that kind of people get caught up in is, specifically things like fast food tends to be extremely nutrient deficient. So, so in order, your body's really smart. So if it's only getting a fraction of the nutrients from your food, well, your body's going to kick up the hunger, to say, okay, well, I'm only getting 10% of my nutrients from this, this cheeseburger from McDonald's. I'm gonna need about a dozen of those to actually meet my nutrient needs. So, not to mention all the additives that affect our brain chemistry that become addicting and stuff like that. So you want to make sure you're focusing on whole foods, such as brown rice, beans, legumes, fruits, and vegetables, and nuts. All of these tend to be pretty filling, and again, they're all whole foods, so really, really clean, and will actually speed up your metabolism. They also reduce the risk of over-consuming, and also provide us with many of the essential nutrients we need to thrive. Now, one of the words that I need to be really, really, really present to is the idea of essential. So there are actually essential nutrients or vitamins or minerals that we can only get by eating them, meaning our bodies can't manufacture them. So those things are critical. And if you're not getting those foods in your diet, you're actually not getting the essential nutrients your body needs to actually heal, repair, and run properly. So whole foods are also one of the things you can consume as part of or as a complete diet to experience natural side effects of weight loss. So placing your attention and energy towards ensuring the foods you eat are as whole as possible instead of low carb or low calorie is possibly and can be a really effective way of achieving lasting weight loss and feeling like an overall more healthy or most healthy version of yourself. So, when we start manipulating foods, again, pulling calories out or adding sweeteners or artificial sweeteners and stuff like that, that disrupts the normal mechanisms of the body of extracting nutrients and using that energy for fuel. So again, focusing on the whole foods is a critical piece of sustaining weight loss. So the idea of stocking up and snacking, there's a lot of kind of misinformation out there. Now, I don't just mean, stocking up your cupboards with healthy whole foods. I mean, actually stocking up your handbag, your gym bag, your backpack, your office, your desk, whatever you carry with you or in spaces that you're regularly going to be, you want to have access to really great choices when that kind of hunger trigger, when those, I need to nibble on something really hits you. So snacking should not be seen as a negative thing, right? It often actually helps with portion control. It slows kind of the eating process down a little bit. It gives us a little more mindful eating experience. And it also actually helps with digestion, right? By lowering the volume and actually extending the time, it makes it easier for our bodies to break down that food and then extract the most nutrients from it. So our bodies are actually on a rotation to need and expect something to digest about every 3 hours or so, depending whether the portions we have that we've actually eaten are balanced and nourishing. Right? So this means having some healthy whole food snacks on hand to rely on can be the difference between binging at dinner time or eating just enough to satiate you through until breakfast the next morning. So snacking becomes really, really, really important. Now, which option actually sounds more sustainable? All right. Well, obviously the snacking versus depriving yourself of calories so that you try to lose some weight till you get to the next morning. You'll actually find that when your metabolism is functioning efficiently, you actually need to eat more food, right? Healthy people need a lot of calories to sustain vital body functions and to regain and restore health. So we've often been kind of conditioned to view snacking as a bad thing, but frankly, what's more important is what are you snacking on? That can be most detrimental. So as I mentioned, kind of like nuts and seeds and stuff like that can be a fantastic way to snack. This is a pretty, common one, limit excess sugar intake. I think most people kind of get that, but most people don't necessarily understand why. right? So sugar is one of the founding pillars of unwanted weight gain, and has become increasingly deceptive at sneaking itself into foods we consume. I mean, you'd be shocked at the foods that actually have sugar in it. I mean, it's crazy. It's everywhere and it's unavoidable. There's so many kinds that it can be difficult to know which kinds are associated or considered to be okay, or even just slightly better than others to eat. There are so many studies on the effects of sugar intake and weight gain, on weight loss, on heart health, on mental health, on pretty much every aspect of the word health you can think of. Now, the results are pretty conclusive and have led to a general fear of the S word, we like to call it, to health professionals. One interesting take on the sugar debate is to consider whether it is the sugar itself or the quantity of food consumed which is responsible for the weight gain. The word excess is key to developing an understanding of this. Now, while it's obvious that consuming an excess of anything is generally considered to contribute to weight loss, but empty calories, which sugar contains, which basically means they carry very little or no nutritional value or satiation value at all, mean that it's often more often associated with weight gain than other foods. So basically, when calories are empty, right, they're more likely to create weight gain. A controversial take on this is outlined in an article that I recently read, and it basically, keep in mind that though the author seems to be focusing on achieving generalized weight loss rather than optimizing health as a means of sustaining weight loss, it's talks about kind of eating sugar to lose weight. So it doesn't necessarily mean it's a healthy way to do it. Like I said, is you can lose weight by doing just about anything, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's healthy or sustainable. So you got to be really, really careful, and again, stick to the basics, right? So we want to again limit sugar intake, make sure we're eating whole foods, stuff like that. Another major one is water. I've been practicing for over 20 years now, and I can tell you that majority of people on the planet, well, at least specifically in the US, are chronically dehydrated. So people that drink more water contributes to lasting weight loss, and is a habit that we can easily form as it benefits can be felt almost immediately. So not only does increasing water intake improve digestion, but it also has been known to reduce hunger cravings, shift the focus away from needing food, as a lot of the time our bodies just ignore water. So by replacing other calorie-laden drinks with water, such as like soda and stuff like that, you can also reduce the number of liquid calories you consume. There's one kind of philosophy of like never consume liquid calories, right? So a lot of times you think about it, how many oranges does it take to make a glass of orange juice? Well, I don't know. I've had an orange tree in my backyard, and we do fresh squeezed orange juice. And man, I can tell you what, it takes like 6 or 8 oranges to get a tall glass of orange juice. So most people would not sit down and eat like 8 oranges, right? That's way more than they consume. So juices are concentrated sugar. So don't actually drink liquid calories. It makes it, again, more difficult to have lasting weight loss. Relative to how much water, well, generally it's going to vary significantly from person to person, but a general amount is that, or general kind of guidelines, is that if you take your weight and you divide it by half, and that's the amount of ounces that you should have. So if a person weighs 200 pounds, half of that is 100, and they should have about 100 ounces of water a day, right? So that's a good metric. What you want to make sure you do, though, is in order to drink it, is bring awareness to it. Is most people have no idea how much water they're drinking. And I ask this question in the office on a regular basis, how much, are you drinking a lot of water? Well, how much water are you drinking? Well, they'll say, well, I have a couple glasses. It's like, okay, well, how big are the glasses? And okay, so you're drinking about, 20 ounces of water a day, but you really should be drinking 80 to 100 ounces of water a day. So having a bottle that you carry around or a cup that's on your desk, and just knowing that, okay, based on my current weight and based on that formula, I need to drink 4 of these bottles a day, or 3 of these bottles a day, or 6 of these bottles a day. And that way there's some accountability to know that you're actually getting all that water in. So really, really important. Almost every biochemical process in your body is dependent upon water. So what your body needs is water. It doesn't need orange juice, it doesn't need Kool-Aid, it doesn't need soda, it doesn't need milk. It actually needs water, right? So making sure you're getting enough water is a critical piece of the issue. It can help so many things from digestion to mental health, all of that stuff. I mean, skin, all of those things improve when we're getting enough water. So I can't stress that one enough. Pretty common sense again, more fruits and veggies, but still people tend to neglect the nutritional power of fruits and vegetables to help fill you up and stop craving the sugary high carb foods, which won't help the weight loss. Again, those empty calorie foods. The benefits of consuming more fruits and vegetables are literally endless. So they're full of countless nutrients and minerals, and also able to assist with digestion and gut health. They're full of water, which helps you reach your kind of ever elusive water needs. Most fruits and vegetables are also low in fat, high in antioxidants, which help keep your DNA healthy. They're high in density, meaning you feel fuller faster. You know, research shows we tend to eat the same volume or weight of food every day, regardless of its calorie count. So if we want to lose weight, it's crucial to stick to lower calorie foods to make up this volume. And that's where fruit and vegetables play an important part in weight loss. So many fruits and vegetables weigh a lot, which adds a lot of bulk to our diets. The difference here is between other heavier foods is that veggies are actually much lower in calorie content. So if you look at a couple slices of bread, which might be 25 grams of carbohydrates, and 25 grams of carbohydrates from like broccoli, oh, it's a massive plate size. So the volume of nutrients in food that you get when you eat fruits and vegetables over simple carbohydrates or simple sugars is significant. So it isn't the case though with dried fruit, however. So the lower density, which with dried food means that it becomes easier to consume more than single portions, increasing the caloric intake or caloric density, and enters the danger zone of overeating. So if you like stacking on dried fruit, that's not necessarily a bad thing, right? It's better than snacking on a Snickers, but be mindful, right, of the portion size, right? It's easy to eat a bunch of dried fruit, so just be careful that you're not eating too much of it. Sleep, totally underrated and often missed relative to weight loss. One of the things we see when people have had chronic issues with weight loss or weight issues is that it's tied to the adrenal system or adrenal dysfunction. And what ends up happening over time is it actually disrupts kind of happy, healthy hormone profiles, which one of those things that it produces is melatonin. So melatonin helps regulate your sleep cycle. So when people have this adrenal stress syndrome or adrenal exhaustion, they also kind of wrecks their sleep quality, which also affects how they lose weight or metabolize calories. So it's kind of this vicious circle. So getting enough sleep is often significantly underrated feature of generating this kind of healthy, balanced lifestyle that we want to see to help people lose weight and balance out the calorie consumption. When you think about it energetically, your body only has enough energy stored to last a certain amount of time. Where this energy goes is dependent upon your daily activities, your daily activity rate, metabolism, and other kind of external factors, stress levels, things like that. So if you have more energy, it can be more generously distributed towards your metabolism, enabling it to digest your food properly and have some leftover for daily tasks. If you suffered a lack of sleep and are feeling tired all the time, one of the first things the body naturally does is call on places where an increased supply of energy is available. And those two things are sleep and food. So studies have actually shown that it's easier to overeat and engage in unconscious eating when you're tired, as it's the body's way of trying to make up for lost energy. So I know I've experienced that. I don't know if you guys have experienced that, but if you're tired, it's like, oh, I just need some sugar, or I just need a little pick-me-up or something like that. So that's your body's kind of innate mechanisms trying to kind of keep you going. So the bottom line here is that including sleep in your quest to improve your overall health and lose weight is almost important as a factor as the food that you actually eat. So if you don't want to be tempted to eat that little bit more at every meal to give you a boost, make sure you get it in the form of a good night's sleep. So generating your sleep patterns, your sleep protocol, kind of your fighting downtime is critical. Another big one is stress in food, right? So I kind of mentioned this relative to the adrenal kind of protocol or adrenal stress that a lot of people have. But the stress levels that we experience can absolutely impact our ability to lose weight and energy levels and stuff like that. So no matter what your job is, chances are there are some elements of life will cause a certain level of stress, right? This is pretty much normal for everybody. When it becomes significantly increased, however, we can begin to lose precious energy that can be used elsewhere, such as our metabolism or in our personal lives, due to the excess stress. So many people deal with this negatively by stress eating or emotionally abusing food to avoid having to deal with whatever stressor is present at that particular moment. So only by being really honest with ourselves about the source of our stress or the emotional pain that we're experiencing at the moment and dealing with it accordingly and sufficiently can we hope to overcome these tendencies to overindulge in food. I think, a lot of people from meeting with them over the years, and myself included, we got to be really conscious of that. I recommend some people, they actually put a Post-it note inside their fridge or inside their pantry that says, are you actually hungry or are you just stressed? Right? Or are you just bored? Right? So food is a substance just as anything, alcohol, caffeine, drugs. The only difference with food is that it's a vital component of our bodies to stay alive and healthy. So therefore, we actually have to learn how to properly balance our relationship with it in a way that's not only healthy, but sustainable. So balancing out your weight and aiming to reset to a steady, healthy relationship with food is the best way to hope to obtain a lower weight naturally and sustain it forever. Really, really critical. So we see a lot of people have an emotional relationship with food, which can make it really challenging to lose weight. So identifying that whether you're a stress eater or a stress non-eater, both of those can be really challenging. Intermittent fasting, as I had kind of mentioned earlier, this is relatively a new phenomenon. Probably within the last 10 years, it's become a little more popular, really in the health and weight loss world. It's really become a new way to go about how we interact with food. Now, the general theory is that you eat relatively unrestrictedly for a period of varying lengths, followed by counteracting period of fasting. This gives the body and blood sugars time to regulate and settle back to near natural states before being subjected to digestive stress again. Now, fasting can be traced back to various religious lineages, which advocate periods of fasting or intermittent fasting as part of cleansing methods to purify the body. So Buddhists, for example, regularly fast in the evenings and do not eat a meal after noon, with the intent of being to settle the body for a purer period of meditation the following morning. Now, in terms of weight, when done correctly and monitored successfully, fasting intermittently is a good way to maintain weight levels, keeping your body as its natural weight. So if you have, extra pounds to shed or have been functioning at a weight above this natural state, this intermittent fasting will initially see you shed those unwanted pounds pretty efficiently. So I think it's one of the most common things we can do that will really help our bodies function more normally again. Now, there's definitely many different methods for intermittent fasting, but there's three major ones, right? The first one is called the 16-8 method. And basically what that means is you skip breakfast every day and eat during an 8-hour feeding window, such as from like 12 noon to like 8 p.m. So basically eat all of your calories within 8 hours. Another one is called Eat, Stop, Eat. So do 1 or 2 24-hour fasts each week. For example, by not eating from dinner one day until dinner the next day. So it's pretty easy to kind of get in those 24 hours, especially if you're sleeping for 8 hours, 8 of those hours, and then busy at work or doing other things. A third one is called the 5-2 diet. So only eat about 500 to 600 calories on 2 days of the week, but eat normally the other 5 days. So again, these are just a couple examples of some intermittent fasting that work for people. I have my preferences. The first one I think is probably the best choice, but there are different variables that help people kind of master that a little bit better. It's also worth mentioning that intermittent fasting is not for everybody. So like everything else diet related, you should really look to someone who's going to help you kind of navigate that. And that's part of why we have the metabolic program here at the office, is we can kind of help people move through those things effectively. Exercise, again, one of these other kind of common things. One of the most things that I want to make sure people get relative to exercise and weight loss is you cannot exercise your weight, out-exercise a poor diet, meaning you can't, exercise for 6 hours a day and eat poorly and expect to really lose weight. It doesn't work that way. Weight loss is about 85% nutrition, about 15% exercise. So, if you've got energy to spare, you're better off spending that energy at really making changes to your diet and nutrition than you are spending it at the gym, at least initially. So it's incredible that we've actually made it this far in the class today without a post focused solely on the importance of exercise. However, it serves to further impress the importance of diet and other environmental factors on a person's weight loss journey. So many people get preoccupied with exercise, the exercise side of things, and end up not being successful. So as I mentioned, not that exercise is not important, it's actually just secondary to nutrition relative to weight loss. Part of actually the DNA test that we do for people through the metabolic program here is we actually get an idea of their muscle density, what type of muscle density they have, meaning are they fast twitch muscle fiber dominant or slow twitch muscle fiber dominant, which tells us actually how a person should exercise. So should you be doing exercise in a kind of a lower intensity for longer durations, or should it be really high intensity for short durations, or are you a mix between the two? So that actually can be determined from your DNA, and that helps us kind of make recommendations for people. It doesn't really matter what you do, it's just how you do it to make sure that it's most effective. So being really aware of what your body needs regarding exercise and heeding those cues can be the difference between a successful attempt at weight loss and an unsuccessful one. There are so many new emerging fitness classes and boot camps, specifically now, that you're bound to find a style that actually suits your bodies, your goals, and your lifestyle. So just try a bunch of different stuff. Having done this for over 20 years now, people typically just won't do what they don't enjoy. So pick something that you find fun and enjoyable, and you're much more likely to do it. So whether that's starting out by just doing some walking or some hiking or whatever it might be, if you don't like to go to the gym, don't go to the gym, but find something else that you can do. So exercise is an important piece of the puzzle. However, it's not as important as nutrition. So we also have to be kind to ourselves, right? So I cannot stress this important enough. Allowing yourself to feel tired and rest some days is key to ensuring you get up strong and motivated for the next day. It's all about balance, right? We can't be on 24/7, right? So it's important to listen to our bodies and say, hey, I really need to just rest today. I need to slow down. I had a mentor of mine that on his deathbed had said something that was so vital. And he was a gentleman who accomplished a lot in life. And I mean, published, almost 25 books, international speaker, all this kind of stuff. And what he said when he was right before he passed away, he's like, I wish I had realized that leisure was a valid use of time. Right? It's okay to have downtime. We have to take care of ourselves. So standing up for that time for you just to recover is really important. So there's actually no good fitness program or successful diet that I've heard of which doesn't allow for rest days or a little bit of indulgence at times, right? So if you eat well and exercise 6 days a week, allowing yourself a small bit of indulgence on your day off will help you keep going once the next week starts, right? It's all, again, a little bit all about this balance. So acknowledging that you're only human and the body needs both rest and activity in equal measures is one of the most humbling things about any successful weight loss journey. Be patient, be kind, right? Stick to the goals and objectives, right? And make sure that you're kind of being consistent with what you want to do to make sure you implement those changes. When was the last time you had a me day, right? When's the last time you took time consciously and intentionally to take care of yourself? Really, really, really important. Inspiration and motivation, right? So many people endeavor to lose weight, right? So the first step here is to make it known that you have a goal, and to ask those closest to you or those you spend the most time with to respect this personal decision and allow you the space to continue achieving it, right? So by creating space for change, we automatically strive to fill that space with whatever interpretation and action we need that will help us achieve it. So asking yourself the question, who or what inspires you to achieve health? Who or what most inhibits you from doing that? So really important to kind of get clear on those particular things so that we can kind of see what's coming and know what's in it for us, right? If there's no why, if there's nothing on the other side, why should we actually make these changes? So, so many people are often looking for solutions, and today, for being on the class, you actually get a gift. So I like to work with people who are engaged in their health, getting health process. So for this class, for this webinar alone, right, what I've learned over the years is that procrastination is the thief of health, right? I've talked with people over 2 decades, and I can't count the times that I hear people say, well, I wish someone, had told me, 20 years ago, and then we could have done something about it, right? So the time to make those changes is now, right? We can't decide 20 years from now that, oh, I wish I would have changed earlier. Some of those things are irreversible. So making changes now is critical to generating your health future the way you envision it. So if you're ready to start kind of this journey and taking the next step and starting to look at how we might be able to help you at the office in the Metabolic Center, the next step is to schedule actually a one-on-one consultation with a doctor and our metabolic coach. So that would be either with myself or Dr. Calaba, Andy Dahlia. The consult includes all these things. We're going to do your body composition analysis. We're going to look at things like your body mass index, your body fat percentage, hydration levels, visceral fat, metabolic age, all kinds of different stuff. A consultation with me or Dr. Calaba, we're going to dig into your health history, look at how your metabolism is actually functioning, and then make some recommendations specifically for you to meet your objectives relevant to weight loss and changing your composition. So it includes everything. There's no hidden fees or anything like that. The normal fee for that consultation is $99. However, if you schedule a consultation today, by the end of today, so by midnight tonight, it's actually free. Right? So for those of you that are ready for that, here's what you need to do. All right, so number one, go to our website, which is lifealignedwellness.com. You can do that right now if you want to. Click on the contact menu button. When you do that, you actually want to put in what's called the T40 webinar in the comments and questions box. Now, T40 webinar just gives me the knowledge that you were on this webinar, and that the front desk will know that you get the discounted consultation that's normally $99, that you get it for free. And then send it to us. Or you can go to our Facebook page and you can message us with the same information, again, the T40 webinar. And then we're going to be in contact with you. Well, probably won't wait till Monday. We'll actually probably contact you later today. Or simply put, you can just call the office and schedule. So that offer is only available through midnight tonight. So when you send that information, even if you don't schedule today, if it's scheduled tomorrow or whatever, that's totally fine. But as long as you send the email or the Facebook message by the end of today, I'll see the timestamp on it so we can make sure that you have you get that discount for that consultation. So I'd like to, for those of you who are really interested in doing that, I'd like to start you off with an assignment between now and when you actually come in. And the first thing is I'm going to ask you to reduce your caffeine intake. Right? So whether that's coffee or sodas, I want you to start reducing your caffeine intake. The second thing I want you to do is I want you to do a fast. We talked about the 16-8 fast. I want you to try and fast from 8 p.m. one evening till noon the next morning. I want you to try and do that at least once between now and when you come in for your consultation. So it just gives you a little something to focus on and kind of get started with before we would meet. So that's all I have for right now. I know we're just kind of getting started. I know you guys probably know that that understanding and learning nutrition is I mean, we could spend months going over additional information. So hopefully giving you some keys to some of the things I've learned after working with people for over 20 years, and hopefully start to make some, implement some things. As you already know, we're here to help you and support you in that process. That's part of what the metabolic program is here for. I'm going to go ahead and leave the chat box open for a minute or two to see if anybody's got any questions. So I'll just kind of wait and see if anybody chimes in and has anything. So if not, so if everybody knows where the chat box is, you can click on the top of the screen, and it's a little drop-down menu. On the right, it says chat. Under the more button, it says chat, and you can open that box and you can send a message directly to me. So, and if no questions, I'm definitely just going to say thank you so much for spending this time with me. It's such a wonderful opportunity for us to share some information, share some knowledge, and help us fulfill some of our mission here, which is really helping people in our community create their ideal lives. You know, I know that when health leaves us, it affects everything in our life and affects everyone in our life. So taking the time to invest in yourself and invest in your health is critical for you being the best version of yourself. So again, thank you for this time. And I look forward to seeing you guys in the office real soon. And again, reach out if you got any other questions, and we'll look forward to hearing from you guys. Have a great rest of the day.